After 4 videos in a row throughout this series, we have finally made it to the 5th and final one. In case you're new and unaware of what we've been doing here, in each of the last 4 videos on this channel, we've been going through the starting lineups of all 30 NBA teams and ranking the players by position. We've already done the point guards, shooting guards, small forwards, and power forwards, so if you're interested in seeing those, be sure to go check them out. But today, we're moving on to the centers. The center position is unique in today's NBA, with the top tier talent truly being transcendent and elite, and even the middle tier provides impactful production to their teams, and the role of the position has even changed a lot over the years as well. Before we get started into the rankings though, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as all support is very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. Starting at the bottom of the list and working our way up to the number 1 spot, at number 30, we have Taj Gibson of the New York Knicks. Gibson is one of the many power forwards the Knicks signed in the summer, and in turn, they've had to use him as a center. He's been in the league a long time, and always provides toughness and a high motor, good rebounding, and decent scoring as a veteran presence, but at this point in time, he's honestly over the hill as a player. He technically starts, but only plays bench player minutes, and isn't that productive in his time anyway. Next up at number 29, we have Marquese Chriss of the Golden State Warriors. After disappointing throughout most of his tenure with the Suns when they drafted him with a lottery pick, he's been able to play well in his second chance with Golden State. He still has a long way to go to live up to the original hype around him, but he's made good strides this year honestly. Up next at number 28, we have Christian Wood of the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons actually just shipped out their franchise center Andre Drummond within the last 24 hours, so Wood, who was the backup, will likely be stepping into the starting role of a rebuilding team now. I'm a big fan of Wood's game actually, and he produces in a number of different areas, but he's honestly best served as a bench piece and probably not as a starter. Next up at number 27, we have Daniel Theis of the Boston Celtics. The Celtics rotation is filled with scoring, playmaking guards, and wings that produce at a high level, but if there's one area of weakness on the team, it is with their big men. Theis is a nice rotation piece that gives you a little bit of everything, but he doesn't really excel in one specific area, leading him to this ranking. Up next at number 26, we have Meyers Leonard of the Miami Heat. The Heat start games off with double big man lineups with Meyers Leonard alongside Bam Adebayo, and Leonard's three-point shooting allows this to happen. On offense, he's purely out there to stretch the floor, and on defense, he holds his own well enough to not be a liability. He's not a flashy contributor and doesn't put up big numbers, but he does well in his role. Next up at number 25, we have Cody Zeller of the Charlotte Hornets. Zeller is mediocrity personified in basically every aspect of the center position. He puts up about 11 points and 7 rebounds a night, holds his own in the middle, and works hard. There's nothing flashy or fun about his game, he just produces well enough for the Hornets, and he does what it's asked of him honestly. Up next at number 24, we have Derrick Favors of the New Orleans Pelicans. Favors is the rock in the middle as a veteran surrounded by young rising stars. He's a terrific rebounder of the basketball, and his strength helps him finish at the rim very efficiently with a field goal percentage of 62%, but he doesn't really possess the versatility that modern day centers are asked to have. Next up at number 23, we have Ivica Zubac of the Los Angeles Clippers. More often than not, Montrezl Harrell actually plays more minutes at the center position than Zubac, but in certain instances when the team needs more of a bruiser in the middle, Zubac has improved every year he's been in the league. He has great touch around the rim, he's improving his touch on his jumper, and his paint defense is even beginning to be noteworthy after struggling a bit at times early on. Next up at number 22, we have Dwight Powell of the Dallas Mavericks. Unfortunately, Powell suffered a season-ending injury not too long ago, but before that, he was a very good 5th option out on the floor. He works with Luka Doncic very well in the pick and roll, his explosiveness allows him to score the ball very efficiently at the rim, and he can even stretch the floor a little bit and knock down some threes. Next up at number 21, we have Thomas Bryant of the Washington Wizards. Bryant is one of my favorite young bigs because he plays 100% at all times and has gotten better and better as time has gone on. Before he got injured this year, he was averaging about 13 points and 7 rebounds per game while shooting 59% from the field, and when he gets back healthy, I hope to see him continue to improve even more. Up next at number 20, we have Richaun Holmes of the Sacramento Kings. Holmes has been a utility guy for a while, not really ever being able to earn a consistent role on a team, but this year, something finally clicked with him and he forced his way into the starting lineup. He's a very mobile and explosive big man that gets out in transition, tries to dunk everything he can at the rim, and has very good instincts in the paint. Next up at number 19, we have JaVale McGee of the Los Angeles Lakers. McGee's purpose on the floor is to block shots, dunk the ball, and grab rebounds, and he does that very well, honestly. LeBron sets him up for a ton of easy looks, he doesn't ever try to do too much, and in the minutes he's given, he helps the Lakers lineup overwhelm opponents with their size. Next up at number 18, we have Wendell Carter Jr. of the Chicago Bulls. Carter has all the potential in the world to be great in this league because he excels in so many different areas, but the Bulls as an overall team have been a bit of a mess and the players aren't always put in positions to succeed the most. He's also struggled with injuries in his young career, but down the line, I can definitely see him shooting up this list. Up next at number 17, we have Brook Lopez of the Milwaukee Bucks. Lopez's defense has elevated a ton over the last few years, and that's currently the biggest area that he contributes for the best team in the league. After last season, it looked like he was rebirthing his career on offense when he was shooting the lights out from deep, but this year, he's taken a step back in that regard, and his jumper has been kind of off all season long. If his shot was still falling from 3, then he would have been higher on this list, but his defense still puts him in a good spot. Next up at number 16, we have PJ Tucker of the Houston Rockets. Yes, I know I put him in the power forwards video yesterday, but the Rockets made a trade recently that kind of messed things up with my list, and it's now looking like Tucker will start at small ball center, so I kind of have no choice but to put him here. His impact is felt way beyond the box score as he brings top tier defense, elite shooting from the corners, and toughness that makes up for his undersized frame. Next up at number 15, we have Jarrett Allen of the Brooklyn Nets. Allen is a promising young big that has improved on both ends of the floor in each of his first 3 seasons. His athleticism is his biggest asset, and he uses it to shoot a strong 64% from the field because he gets so many easy looks for himself at the rim. He's a double-double machine and isn't afraid of anyone, and has already made some big-time blocks on some of the best players in the league. Up next at number 14, we have Jonas Valanciunas of the Memphis Grizzlies. With all of the youth and rising talent on this Grizzlies team, veteran Valanciunas holds everything together in the middle and has even expanded his game out to the 3-point line. He puts up an efficient 15 points per game and snags 10 rebounds in the process as well, and is just an overall solid starting center. Next up at number 13, we have Steven Adams of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Adams has been the rock in the middle of the Thunder for years now, and what he brings is someone who can overpower almost anyone in the league on both ends of the floor. He boxes out as well as any big man in the league, has very good touch around the basket, and plays his role perfectly. Up next at number 12, we have Hassan Whiteside of the Portland Trail Blazers. Whiteside has gotten a bad rap over the last few years because of his seemingly lazy play out on the court, but now in a new scenario, he's taking full advantage of his second chance and is really playing well. He's putting up 16 points and 14 rebounds per game, and is actually leading the NBA in blocks at 3.1 per game. Next up at number 11, we have Myles Turner of the Indiana Pacers. Turner is a very high-level rim protector that holds his own very well in the middle for a sneaky good Pacers team. Offensively, he hasn't quite lived up to the once enormous potential seen in him, but he does stretch the floor out to the 3-point line and scores the ball at a decent clip. Now, starting off the top 10, we have Marc Gasol of the Toronto Raptors. Gasol is definitely not the player he used to be in his prime, but for an overachieving Raptors team, he gives them exactly what they need and championship pedigree. He's still a very good defender, a 40% shooter from 3, and can bang with any of the top bigs in the NBA. Next up at number 9, we have DeAndre Ayton of the Phoenix Suns. Luka Doncic and Trae Young may get all of the attention from the 2018 draft class, but Ayton was taken number 1 back then, and he too is playing phenomenally. He's putting up a strong 19 points and 12 rebounds per game, has a terrific face-up game in the mid-range, and solid moves in the post, and his power in the middle has given opposing defenses fits. Next up at number 8 on this list, we have Clint Capella, who is now on the Atlanta Hawks. Capella has developed a ton over the years for the Rockets and has become one of the best pick-and-roll bigs in the league with James Harden, but now that he's in Atlanta, he should continue to thrive with rising young star Trae Young. Trae's playmaking is already top tier, and he and Capella will be a very good duo to build around. Next up at number 7, we have LaMarcus Aldridge of the San Antonio Spurs. Aldridge is one of the most skilled offensive bigs out of the post in the league, and his face-up game is still incredibly tough to stop, and he's even improved his range out to the three-point line. He's not as good as he once was in his prime, but he's still a very good player at the position nonetheless. Next up at number 6 on this list, we have Nikola Vucevic of the Orlando Magic. He took a big step forward last season when he was named an All-Star, and even though he wasn't named one this year, he is still the versatile and productive player in the middle of a Magic team that looks like it is once again primed for a playoff berth. Up next at number 5, we have Andre Drummond, who is now on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Drummond's one of the best rebounders this league has ever seen, and he has even expanded his offensive capabilities over the years, and funnily enough, he just got traded today. You do have to feel bad for him a bit because he's going from one lottery team to an even worse lottery team when he has so much to offer, but I suppose his stint in Cleveland will be an interesting one. Next up at number 4, we have Rudy Gobert of the Utah Jazz. Gobert earned his first All-Star berth this year, and deservingly so, because the success of the Jazz all starts with him in the middle. He's once again a heavy favorite for the Defensive Player of the Year award because he's legitimately that impactful on that end of the floor, and on offense, he cleans up around the rim as well as anyone. Coming in at number 3 now, we have Karl-Anthony Towns of the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Wolves as a team are a bit of a mess right now, but it's surely not because of Towns. Towns is one of the most offensively gifted bigs, if not the most offensively gifted big in the league, and he dominates both inside and out. Obviously, he has room to improve on defense, and the lack of team success hurts, but overall, he's top tier. Next up at number 2 on this list, we have Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets. Jokic's offensive prowess is unlike anything we've seen in the league before, because as a passer, he's legitimately great. Then he can also bully defenders in the post, face up in the high post, and create offense for himself or others whenever. He and the guy at number 1 are legitimately neck and neck as players, but ultimately, I gave the next guy the slightest edge. Which now brings us to the top spot on this list, being Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers. Embiid's had kind of a rough season this year because the Sixers as a whole have been a mess. The team is built so poorly with no spacing around him, so Embiid has no room to operate, yet he's still putting up 23 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 assists per game, while playing very good defense. His impact has always been the driving force of the Sixers, so despite their struggles as a team, he still reigns as top dog. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think of these rankings for the players. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.